This is crazy. This is crazy. Give a round of applause. I love these shoes. How's everybody doing this weekend? This is awesome. So I know I'm supposed to start off talking about social influence, right? And that's important. But I want to tell you kind of like my story. The reality is, I'm not supposed to be on the stage right now. At all. So 2 years ago, almost to this date, I sat somewhere over there in the corner at a round table, like Sean said, with my cowboy hat. And I was a year in this business, and I've already done close to maybe $600,000, $700,000 at that point. But I needed more, so this was my first real estate event that I ever went to, was Extreme Freedom, right here in Arizona, Sean Terry's event. So give a round of applause for Sean Terry again. So let me just tell you my story. So I used to be in like the corporate America marketing world. And I left that world because there was a problem in the world that I thought that I could solve with an app. So I went out and raised a little bit of money, created this app called FastBud. Man's Fast Brand Ambassador. Everything went well except for we ran out of money, ran out of runway, and it failed. Right, so I left corporate America to go back to my hometown and build an app, and it failed. And with that failure, I had to move back home to my mom's house at like 31 years old. I don't know if you ever moved back home at 31 years old? Raise your hand. Right, so we got a couple of people, but things are a little bit different in my household because my parents are Jamaican. So here I am, 31 back home, but I'm actually 17 all over again. And that's crazy because I left home at 17 to join the United States Air Force. So I haven't been back home to live since I was 17. I come back at 31 and I'm 17 again. So you know what that means? I gotta come home before the street lights come on. It wasn't that bad, but I couldn't go to the nightclub. Definitely couldn't bring nobody home, not to my mom's house. She's Jamaican. So what the fuck, what are you doing? No, she ain't having that. One plus side to everything is I had great food. My mom would cook every single day, but when you're a kid, you have to eat when the food's done, not when you're ready, right? I forgot, you give away that privilege when you're a child. So I moved back home and it was probably one of the deepest, down, darkest times of my life. I thought I was riding a high, and just boom, it gets pulled out from underneath me. And I knew I had to do something different. And back it up a little bit, when I was in high school, I barely graduated high school. If you barely graduated high school, raise your hand. It's okay, I'm not the only one, right? So I was so bad in high school, and probably nationwide now, you have to have a 2.0 to play sports. And I would only get to play the first half of the football season before the report cards came out, and boom, I was off the team. Every single year. So my junior year, I realized that look, I'm thinking, listen, you just gotta be born smart. You gotta be born an athletic person. You get born an entrepreneur. It's something you can't train or anything like that. Come to find out, I was dyslexic. I'm still dyslexic. So what would take you a week to read would take me probably 2 months. Right? So numbers are also backwards for me. Right? We're checking in the hotel. I got my key card. I'm walking down. I always roll with at least one video guy a day. He's a good friend for 10 years. And I put the key in, I'm like, this is not working, this is stupid. But I reversed all the numbers, and I was standing in front of the wrong hotel door. So it still affects me till today, but I overcame that. But I had to identify what my weak side was as a person, right? So don't ever be ashamed of what you lack, because you can be brilliant in something else. But anyways, I went home, and I had to do something different. So I found a friend, and I was like, isn't your dad rich? He was like, yeah, I think so. I was like, we should go talk to him. So I go to his house, and this is the first, like, almost kind of unannounced. We probably gave him a 2-hour head notice. We get to his house, beautiful, gorgeous house. We get to the basement, and he has a whole freaking PowerPoint slide set up ready to talk to us. Like he was waiting for this day all of our life, 31 years for him to speak to him. Keep in mind, I've known him since I was 12 years old. So he starts clicking to the sides and he starts to tell us how he's worth over $20 million all because of real estate. Like, what? Well, you had to start with money, obviously. No, I started out wholesaling. What's that? My mind completely shut off. I didn't hear anything he had said for the rest of the 90 minutes he was speaking. And I went home and I locked myself in a room for 3 weeks trying to learn about wholesaling. And I ran across YouTube, one of my favorite things. So how many got a degree from YouTube? Right? Me too, right? I just finished my doctorate. We walked across stage in December. So I go home and I enroll into Sean Terry's YouTube University. I don't even know if he had a thing, but he would have YouTube videos up there talking about seller appointments and how to do this and how to do that. And then he had a podcast, great podcast. I would just immerse myself. My mom thought I was committing suicide or trying to not eat by never coming downstairs, but I was so immersed and so obsessed with learning what wholesaling was. And I never forget the day on September 11th, I call my friend, I go by his house, and he was broke. I think he was actually worse than I was. I went by his house, I said, come downstairs, we're gonna go driving for dollars. Now, keep in mind, I just moved home, so I had to voluntarily get my car back. I couldn't afford it anymore. So I called the bank, they came pick my car up, and I had to get a 2004 Volkswagen Jetta, right? I mean, I actually like that car, it's a good car. But how many of you guys ever had a bad starter in your car, right? So if you got a bad starter in your car, what do you gotta do to start it? What do you gotta do? You gotta knock on that starter, right? So under my driver's seat was a hammer. No joke, so everywhere I went, I had to crack the hood, leave it open. I hope it started the first time. If not, you look around, make sure nobody's watching, grab your hammer, walk around the car, look like nothing's happened, few taps, jump back. Now keep in mind, if you're a pro at this, you don't close the hood all the way. Why? It might not start. So you run back to the car, start it up, and boom. So I go to my friend's house. I said, listen, we're gonna do this thing called Driving for Dollars. Sean Terry's talking about it, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna do it. So this was like 3 years ago. September 28, 2016 is when I started this business. So when I got my first contract, I should say. So September 11th, I'm riding around doing everything I can, and we find a house a few days later in my old neighborhood that I used to live in. I never forget it. It was 224 Flintfield Drive. The seller was Amy Honeycutt Mitchell, and the buyer was Greg Pontillo. These are things you'll never forget, and that's why I say you're only one deal away. So I pull up to this house. It's got everything Sean's talking about. Tall grass, unkept bushes, mailboxes, stuff. Like, this is it. Sean is actually a genius. I can't wait to meet this guy, right? So I take a picture, and back in the day, before they had all these apps, I say back in the day, this is like 3 years ago. Back in the day, you had to take a screenshot of your Apple Map, screenshot of Redfin, go home, then put it in your county assessor website to find out who owns it. So I'm on a roll. I speed back home. I find out who owns it, but then it says heirs. Now, keep me honest. How many of you guys knew what heirs was before you got into this business? Okay, cool. I wasn't alone. Right? So not everybody knew what heirs was. So I had to Google that. So I got an associate's degree in heirship, right? Just from Google. And then I had to go to the county courthouse, the probate office the next day. Well, luckily in North Carolina, you can access these files. And I asked for the lady's file. I said, hey, can I see such and such heir file? She gives it to me. I open it up. There's an administrative document on the front. It says who the administrator is. It says what their address is and their number. Bingo. Take a picture and I leave. So I then go to the, my dad had a restaurant at the time. I go to the restaurant and I'm standing out front and I call this number. And I'm praying to God they do not pick up. Because I'm taking action like Sean said to do, but I did not want somebody to be on the other end of that phone. I call. Hello? Yes, I'm an investor and I was driving in your neighborhood and I seen a house that you might have for sale. Are you interested in selling your house on Flintfield? Who are you again? Oh, my name's Max. I'm a real estate investor here in Winston Salem. Yeah, actually we were thinking about selling it, but I need to talk to my husband first. Can I call you back? He works on the road, so it'll probably be about 2 weeks or so. No problem, great, hung up fast. That was painless. I didn't get cussed out, nobody stabbed me, nothing happened to the phone. I'm now a real estate investor, right? 20 minutes later, my phone rings. Holy crap, she's calling back. Hello, this is Max. Hey Max, I talked to my husband. We are interested in selling. What do you want for it? She said, I don't know. What about you? I was like, I don't know. You know, it's kind of. She said, listen, can you give me like 50,000 or something? I'm like, I don't think I can do that. You know, I was thinking probably close to 30. Where I got that number from, only God knows, because I didn't run a single comp on that property, right? And she says, okay, well, let me call my husband and I'll call you back. She calls back and says, what about 40,000? Like, no, I'm still at 30. But how about this? How about I'll give you 32,000 and I'll pay your back taxes of 5,000 and you walk away with 32,000 cash. Keep in mind, my Bank of America statement says negative money. So I don't know where in the hell I'm gonna get the 32,000 to get this lady. But the podcast made me confident, right? And she says, okay, that sounds great. I'm like, what? So, I need to go find a contract now. So I go online, and I'm looking for a contract, and I don't know, did I tell you I was bad at reading, right? So I find this one-page contract. It's simple to me, it's simple to them, and we get them to fill it out. So I'm driving to meet this lady at exit 75 off of I-85, I'll never forget it, at a Waffle House. I pull up there, I'm waiting in the car, in comes this little lady comes out, she's all happy. We sign on the hood of my 2004 Volkswagen Jetta. I'm excited, she's excited, we're just happy. But I can't leave until she leaves because I don't want her to see me knocking on the daggone star. But then she's gonna really know I ain't got the money. So, I get the contract, I go home, I go back to my mother's house. And I steal the lawnmower. Keep in mind, I brought my friend with me just in case she was an axe murderer or this wasn't real. So my friend's with me. I got the contract. I go back home. I fold the lawnmower up, put it in the trunk of my Volkswagen, and I start cutting the grass because I know I got to sell this thing, right? I cut the grass. I trim the bushes. I step back, like, this looks a lot better. I take a picture. Go on my phone, Facebook Marketplace. House for sale, $54,000. Boom. Get back to Reagan. About 30 minutes later, I'm putting this stuff in the trash bags. A car pulls up. Two ladies pop out. Hey, are you selling this house? Yeah. Door's open, go check it out. They're in there for about 5 minutes, they come out. Oh, it's too much work. We can't do the work, but thank you. And now you start to think, what the hell has Sean Terry got me into? I owe this lady $32,000. And this lady said it's too much work. I just made a mistake. So I get back to working. A few minutes later, a phone call. Hey, my name is such and such, Miss Pontillo, whatever her name, first name was, I forget. She says, my husband and I just sold our last flip and we're looking for another one. But he's working out of town. Can he come see it tomorrow? Sure thing. Door's gonna be unlocked. Keep in mind, I can't even afford a lockbox at this point. So I gotta leave the back door open. Back door's unlocked, come look at it. Call me when you get a chance. Next day he calls me, hey, I seen the house, looks great. Can I bring my wife by tomorrow? Yeah, this is starting to go as planned. Now Sean's my friend again, right? So then, the next day they both call, he's like, hey, we want to buy it. How about we give you like 45,000? Not bad, right? But Sean said, don't work for the buyer, you gotta know your price. So I said, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember the exact price, but I said, I think it was like 54, all said and done. And he agreed to it, and we closed on that property about 7 or 8 days later, and I had my first check for $14,000. And at that moment, I realized, this is real. It took that bank about 15 days to clear that check, because I was like, sir, we ain't never seen this type of money in your bank. We gotta make sure this is good. So I get that check, and my next deal happens from Craigslist. I make $7 grand. And then it snowballs, it snowballs. And in about the next 10 to 11 months, I make about $800,000. And it's just going and going and going. So I really say that I'm not supposed to be here because statistically, there is no way that a first-generation American black guy is supposed to be making $800-something thousand from watching YouTube videos and he's not going to jail. But this stuff really works, I promise you. So now I have a team, 14 staff members. We just got a new 7,000 square foot office that we're opening on a high-rise tower, and we're growing. We're growing every single day, right? But all that story stuff is cool. And you're like, great story. How does that relate to me? It relates to you because I'm telling you that I am probably the worst candidate in this room to be successful in standing on this stage and talking to you. So if I can get here from true grit and paying attention and taking instructions and taking actions, it leaves nobody in this room an excuse to not be able to do the same. So it's like, and I know I'm supposed to be talking about social influence, but I'm going to get there soon, I promise. But the thing is I had to go back and look at myself and say, how did you do it, Max? You really have to start questioning yourself. Well, the first book I ever read cover to cover, which in my mom's house, at 31 years old, was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And you know, the book is really not that great, but the story and what it challenges your thinking was even better. So I said, wait, this dumb little book made me a millionaire because it changed my mindset. So wait, this is crazy. Changed my mindset, what does that even mean? So I started studying on YouTube University again, too, right? So I have a little associates in brain physics and stuff, right? So I started studying the brain. And your brain is made of these things called neurons, right? How many of you knew that? Okay, a lot of smart people in here. And what happens is, when we're all humans, right? Okay, when you're born, you're usually around 10 people most majority of your life. And those 10 people, the habits, the mannerisms of those 10 people influence you directly. So what happens is when your brain starts to talk to the neurons, cells start to talk to each other, they start to fire off and they start to communicate. And what happens is, if you do something so often or see it so many times, it like instead of firing this wireless signal, it just builds an Ethernet cord directly to that neuron so that it just happens all the time. They figured it out. You do this all the time. You're probably going, what are you talking about? Are you high right now? No, listen to me. How many of you guys have ever left work? Right? Raise your hand if you ever left work and then you ended up in the driveway. Like, what the hell did I get here? I don't remember taking the right turn, left turn, stopping. That is the automatic, right? Your subconscious is responsible for almost 95% of your daily actions. Holy crap. 95? So that means you're not even thinking throughout the day. So what happens if we actually challenge the way we learn and see things to be something different, right? So I'm Jamaican, right? What if I told you the reason why we're the fastest people on this earth is because we actually wear our shoes on the other side? Right? You put the left on the left and the right on the right, right? How do you know that's right? Who told you that? Right? So you have to start challenging. I say that, it's simple, but you have to start challenging every single thing you know up until the point of now. Right? Our entire life was back there. You come here this weekend and it's called halftime. You get it? And you can determine what the second half of your life is going to look like if you decide to actually challenge everything you know. Before I even got to this position, I thought money was a limited thing. How many raised, don't lie, how many raised your hand if you thought money was only for the 1%, that you couldn't get your fair share, like millions of dollars would never happen? Same here. Guess what? They print that every day. Every day they print money. And when you start to realize that, you're like, man, I can get my share. So I look at the tax bracket, right? I didn't know I was in the top 1% of America. That feels pretty good, doesn't it? Is the IRS in here? Because I'm broke. So the whole point of this conversation, I'm telling you, is you need to challenge every single thing that you think is right and do it the other way to make sure what you've learned is not just a habit and an automatic motion of the 95% of your brain. And the only way to break that Ethernet cord between the two neurons is to have an opposing thought continuously that fires off the other direction. So you have to challenge the way you think in order to change the first half of the game to make it the way you want it to be the second half of the game. Understand? So if you've ridden in the plane, raise your hand. A lot of us, right? So on the way over here, Dave, we were speaking in Mississippi yesterday, or the day before, whatever. We're in the plane, and I'm always with my big headphones on because I don't want anybody to talk to me when I'm on the plane. It's a weird conversation on the plane. I don't know why that happened. But for some reason, my headphones wouldn't turn on, and the lady standing in front of me, and she's talking about the safety instructions for this flight. And she says, in case of an emergency, the oxygen bags are going to drop below. Even though it's not inflated, oxygen is still flowing, but put your mask on first before you help your child or the person next to you put their mask on. And I'm thinking, what a selfish motherfucker. Why won't I help my child put their mask on? That's stupid. And I started thinking, wait, it makes sense. How many of us go through life trying to put the oxygen mask on a friend, a family member, somebody else, and you ain't even breathing correctly yet? Raise your hand. Okay? So the reason why that made so much, it was so troubling, I made a post about it yesterday on Instagram. I was like, this is crazy. My whole life, I've probably been going around trying to help somebody else put their mask on. You need to be selfish in order to be selfless. Get to the top and throw a rope down and pull somebody up with two hands. Not while you're going up and trying to grab with one. So that brings me into the next topic, which is your social influence. Now, social influence means a lot of things. It could mean amongst a group of 5 people. It could just be amongst this room of 500, 600 people, 5 million, 5 billion. But it's important in everybody's individual life. And if you're going to have a successful business, it's also important to be a social influence. That doesn't mean you need to have a YouTube channel or a big Instagram following to be an influencer. But it's important. So one thing I took from Sean Terry 2 years ago, he said, go home, create a meetup.com account for 19 bucks and start doing meetups locally in your city. I said, great. I did exactly that. Matter of fact, since I got the first deal, I'm going to listen to whatever he says. So I did it right there in the meeting room with him, in the mastermind that he had. Right there, I signed up, and I went home and I did my first one. And what that did is it allowed me to bring like-minded people together, and for me to start sharing my influence and receiving influence back. So, for me, you're probably thinking, all right, how do I grow a YouTube channel with 150,000 subscribers, and how do I get 100,000 subscribers on Instagram? The first thing you need to do is put your oxygen mask on first, before you decide to do any of that. Right now, that kind of created a culture. A lot of people are opening up YouTubes and stuff like that, and you don't actually have to be successful before you do so. I'm not saying that's what you need to do, because if you watch my first video, I was sitting in the car and I said, you guys are going to come with me on this journey because I need to make $100,000 a month. How many of you guys watched that first video? So the point is, you came with me on this journey. I wasn't successful like Sean Terry. I was just starting, but I didn't allow this wanting, I didn't do it with the purpose of being able to stand on the stage in 2 years. I did it because I had some mild success that I wanted to just share with people so that they can see their own vision in light, like how Sean Terry showed me how it was possible. Does that make sense? So social influence can be anything you want. Now I have 4 staff members that 2 follow me around with the camera every single day. I have a content writer, I have a 5,000 square foot studio, and we build content on purpose now. But a lot of it is through me actually doing my day-to-day real estate transactions. It's not fake. I don't sit down in the studio all day and just make stuff. I go to a house, we run into a problem, I either try to address it live there in the house, or we'll stick a pin in and say, Dave, make a note, we need to make a video about this because this sucked and I want to make sure people don't suck like I just sucked on this thing. Right? But you have to genuinely care and genuinely want to see people succeed. I did a YouTube video, I did YouTube for a full year without receiving a penny. Matter of fact, I found my first shooter, what they call the guy with the camera, at Best Buy, and I took him and I started paying him $400 a week. I did it with no expectations other than just doing it. And this business can get very lonely. Can get very lonely because not a lot of people around you are going to think the way you think. So, you know, you don't have to go out and be me. I'm single with no kids. People gravitate to that. Some people don't. My guy Freedom, he's in here somewhere. Beautiful wife and family. He can have Instagram and YouTube about what it's like to run a business with his entire family and kids. Because there's other people that want to hear, because they're going through the same exact thing you're going through probably 2 minutes after you. So sharing is caring. Give, because you receive 10, 20, in my case, 1,000,000 times back. And that's the reason why I'm standing on this stage today, not because I got a successful wholesaling real estate business, is because I was willing to give back with no expectation of return. And what it actually turned into was more than I can ever expect to get back. Right? So everybody share. Sharing is caring. You guys go out and do the same thing. So I got about 30 minutes left on stage, and I want to do questions. Now you can have questions about influence, you can do questions about real estate, whatever you want. I am yours for the next 30 minutes, and I think there's microphones located in place throughout we have a microphone there, I see. We have a microphone running over there. So there goes your 2 microphones, and you want to get this on the microphone. Yes, sir.
Is this on?
Yeah.
All right, great. Hey, Max.
How you doing?
Yeah, my question is, how do you monitor your overseas employees? Yeah, just to make sure that they're doing their calls and work correctly and doing it.
Yeah, so that's important. A lot of people say they got this tracking software on people's computers. I don't have that. So when I hired my first VA, when I first started, it's an admin VA. Her name is Alexis. She's still with me till today. Matter of fact, all but one of my VAs have been with me for 2+ years. And it's because I treat them exactly like if it was right here, you and me. The only difference is they're 8,500 miles across the country, and I still treat them like a human. So I invested my time into them to get them to be able to do what I wanted them to do the correct way. So monitoring them is in results. I know that I have certain tasks that have deadline to be met every single day, week, month. And if these tasks are met, I don't question it. Now when these tasks are not met, then I do question it. So you need to have an open line of communication. Treat them just like if you were going to treat anybody that was sitting next to you. So don't monitor them. Nobody wants somebody hanging over their shoulder. But just have an open line of communication. We all have Slack in our company, so everybody can communicate with each other on a drop of a dime, and that's important to have. So open line of communication, and then setting your expectations, just as we do with the sellers, just as we do with the buyers. Set your expectations for your employees so they know what you expect, so when you do rile up and you show your ugly head, they understand why.
I see. So with your KPIs, you have your numbers, and you just monitor that and make sure that they reach your targeted number.
Yeah, so I'm not the best KPI guy. Alexis, who actually runs it, she gathers all the data and displays our KPIs on our board in the office. So yes, I have an immense amount of trust for my VA, right, to do. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at. So between my brother, who's my COO, they gather all the information, they all put it, they meet weekly, and it's all updated in Excel and all that stuff. They handle the KPIs. But I mean true actions. Like if you know that you're supposed to have a list populate every Monday by 9 a.m. and it's not there, then you need to question them. If it's there, don't question them.
Thank you, Max.
Absolutely. Thank you.
What's up, Max?
How you doing, sir? you doing?
Man. First off, I just want to say thank you so much for all
the
content you put out, man. And I've been following you for a long time, since you had, not a lot of followers. So
thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm here from West Palm Beach, Florida. The main challenge that I'm trying to overcome right now is actually a time thing. So I'm trying to see the best way to navigate managing the business with a full-time job. I'm going to start working Monday through Saturday from about 9 a.m. to about 7:30 or 8 p.m.
Got it.
So it's not that I don't want to ever be the guy that's like, oh, I don't have time, because that's not true. It's just a priority thing. But if you were in a situation where you're working Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8, and you had Sundays off, how would you go about making offers, talking to sellers, doing all those revenue generating activities?
Makes total sense. A lot of people have this question, right? A lot of people are doing their 9 to 5s. They're not going to just get up and quit to start this business. They need to see some traction and runway before they do so. So what I tell people to do is, one of my favorite methods is RVMs. I love RVMs because it allows me to be doing whatever I need to be doing throughout the day. And if you set up the good tripwires, what happens is you're only going to speak to people that are truly interested in what you actually put out. But it's important to make sure that your voicemail, when you do a ringless voicemail, is not a robot. You don't sound like a programmed telemarketer. You need to be very casual, as if that voicemail was only dropped for that person, right? So say, hey, my name is Max. I was in your neighborhood and I think you may have a house for sale. Now, I completely could have the wrong number, but I'm not sure. But if you do have a house for sale, hey, give me a call back or shoot me a text, whatever is convenient for you. I look forward to speaking with you. Thanks. Now, if any of us got that voicemail, would you think that was sent to 10,000 people?
Definitely not.
Right? So then you need to have that voicemail set up, and then you need to have 3 or 4 different of not the same, because you might want to hit that same person with another one. Hey, my name is Max. I called you last week. I didn't get you. So I think you have a house for sale, and if you do, hey, just give me a shout back, shoot me a text. Thanks. Right? And then the other one, hey, my name is Max. I sent you a postcard about 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure if you got it. I was interested in that house you have for sale here in North Carolina, Winston Salem, whatever. Give me a call back when you get a chance. You might have never sent a postcard, but the point is you don't want to batter them with the same message over and over again. And what that does is that creates that simple, cheap, outbound method of marketing and brings it back in as an inbound method of marketing for you to only speak to the people that are truly actually motivated, that leave that voice message that you say, hey, look, my name is Alex. My name is Alex. Sorry, I'm on the other line. Leave a message. If you're calling about a property, leave that too, and I get back to you as soon as possible.
Got it. Okay.
Right? And then answer those calls, return those calls on your break, return those calls when you get off at 6 or 7 or 8, whatever that is, and schedule all your appointments on the days that you're available. Now, don't be afraid to tell the seller, hey, look, I work 5-6 days a week. They actually like that because they know you got money. Say, hey, look, I work 5-6 days a week, but I'm looking to diversify and I want to invest in some real estate. So that's why I called you. So my schedule that I can only really see is maybe Saturdays at this time or maybe on Sundays.
Makes sense. Thank you so much, brother.
No problem. Somebody right here.
Hey Max, how are you?
How you doing, sir?
Good. Appreciate you coming out. My question is, I feel like I can relate to a lot of younger people. I'm 19 that are doing wholesaling, but I'm also not an expert, so I'm trying to find what the best way is to spend my time to do some influencing. So my question is, what platforms do you think are the best to spend my time on? And then, do you agree with the whole document versus create, being that I've only done between 10 and 20 deals?
Yeah, so that's a good place to start, right? Hey, I'm a 19-year-old, blah, 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 but what happens next year when you're 20? And then the year after that when you're 21, and you're 22. There's a new 18-year-old idiot every day. I'm not calling you an idiot. But you get the point that I'm saying, right? So don't use that as your tagline. I wouldn't purposely use it as your tagline. Say, hey, look, I'm a young investor, and I think the things that I learned and know, I can do it. Now, what I would love is, let's talk about this. A lot of people get caught up into, what should I use, what should I don't use? What do you like the most? Where do you consume the most of your content? On what platforms?
Instagram.
Let's start there. What's your second one?
Facebook.
Let's start there. That's it. You're not going to reach everybody, but start on those 2 platforms, do them well, and the number one thing you have to do is be consistent and be ready to give without receiving anything for a long time.
Right.
Get what I'm saying? So make it simple. Don't make it hard when you decide what platform you want to go, and go out there and just speak your truth. Some people are gonna like you, some people are not gonna like you. Doesn't matter. Just do what you do, and it may never catch on. The reality is like 90% of the people don't have what it takes to actually do it. But there is that 10% that will never try to actually do it because they don't think they do it. So I encourage everybody to try it, and you're gonna know on your own whether you have it or not. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. I guess
And do document over create. I strongly believe that. Document over create, because when you try to create, it seems fake. When I get in the office in the morning at 8 o'clock, this lavalier, this mic pack is sitting on my desk, I know to put it on, and I just go about my day, and there's just a fly in my wall, my car, my office, and they chop the videos and make them look good. Get what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, my only other follow-up question would be, I know Gary's big on not focusing on like the metrics, like you got 100 likes, 200 likes. So you're saying come at it from a mindset where I'm just here purely to provide value to whoever wants to listen and not even worry about that?
100%. I mean, the guy over here said he was watching my videos when I had almost no followers, right? Eventually people go back and look at your original content because they like you. So it's still gonna get views someday. Maybe not the day you want it, but it eventually will.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man. Good luck to you. We have one back here.
Hey Max, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well, sir. Thank you.
Just want to let you know you're the reason why I'm here today.
Thank you, sir.
So kind of a funny story. I drive my kids to school every morning, and I listen to you every morning. So when they hear your music, they're come on. They're like, oh, this guy again. Dad, why are you listening to this guy again? I said, so now they know who you are. I said, this dude has 100,000 followers. They're like, oh, this dude is famous. I said, I'm going to see him this weekend. I'm from New York. And he's like, oh, he's famous. Can you get a selfie with him? I said, I'll see what I can do.
Let's do it.
All right, do it now.
Do it right now. Good to meet you, man. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate you. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he's a big dude. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. He said he still got a question. That's the first time I took a selfie from stage. It's pretty cool. But he still has a question.
Okay, so I might have a house under contract. It's a tear down. There was a guy whose house burnt up, lost his mother, whole thing. Anyway, if you can take it like from soup to nuts, if I get this house under contract, after the contract, what do? I take it to a title company to make sure it's free and clear, or any liens, or how exactly does it work, the process work?
Yeah, so you're right on path. You're in New York. What part of New York?
Rockland County. It's 30 minutes north of Manhattan. I'm on the borderline of Jersey.
Got it.
Alabama, New Jersey, that area.
So, it's like you got some Jersey people over here. Yeah. So what you want to do is you want to find that reputable, I believe you guys are a, Jersey is that attorney state? No, New York is an attorney state.
New York's attorney state.
Yeah, so find somebody else that's actually doing deals and find that person, that attorney, and bring them your contract. Now, New York's a little bit different. You're going to have to put some money up just a little bit to establish a relationship with that attorney. But take it through that process, and while you're doing that, I hope you have cash buyers already ready to start being able to send this out. Because once you get that ink to dry on that contract, you need to get to work on dispositions, right? And you need to make sure that you actually have a good deal. So send it to the title company, make sure you get good presentation out to your buyers, let the frenzy start, get that contract signed with that assignment, move on to the next one.
I already have an offer. I already put on Craigslist just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
I already have an offer.
Be careful.
What's that?
Be careful, because you did that before you got a contract, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Now, a lot of attorneys are calling with buyers. So how are the attorneys? I know that they don't want to be bothered with any attorney brokers.
Yeah.
Any broker fees or anything like that. So how are the brokers getting their cut?
You have a price. If they want to make some money, they need to put it on top of that. That's not your responsibility.
Just put it on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you need to instruct them that they need to put their own price on top of that.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hope that helped. Thank you. We have some questions on it. There we go. How'd you get that job, bro? Running around with the mic. I need to do that.
Just have a simple question. So when you did your first meetup group, what was your first subject and what was the goal for the meetup group when you went back home and you started the meetup group?
Actually, dude, I just took some of Sean Terry's stuff, to be honest with you. I ain't gonna lie. Man, he talked about some stuff that was important, and I felt it just resonated with me, so I just transferred that same type of talk and ability. I didn't have slides or stuff. I just wanted people to come together and see where people were with their deals and where they were, and then realize, hey, look, okay, you need to do this or that, you know, here's the process, here's the flow. We answer a lot of questions like that. People say, hey, who's the attorneys you use? Who's the closing companies you use? We transfer that information, you know, and I just made myself the hub of, maybe I can help you, here's my number. And somebody said, hey, look, I'm going to go see a house, what should I get it for? You get it for around here, and I know you can sell it. Or, hey, I just got a contract, who's the title company, who's the attorney? Go over here. So I just became the one that was helping as people were doing it, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So make the topic whatever you want to talk about. How to find your first deal. Or how to get you can partner with the title company attorney and say, here, today's subject is about what do you do when you get your first contract? Or what contract to use? The title company may have one for you. Stuff like that. Absolutely. It's all on you.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I've been watching you on YouTube for a while, so
Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah. So I got a lot of good stuff from you. I've done 2 already, but I wanted to ask you, the first 2 years you were writing and doing everything, what was the marketing you did for your cash buyers specifically?
Sure, first 2 years. I did a lot of individual calls to people that I've seen purchase deals. Just by reverse logistic, like the county records, you can see who bought. Well, now there's so many softwares that will tell you who bought for cash. So use the softwares that tell you who bought for cash and take the time and make the phone call.
Okay.
Right? So when you're at this young starting stage, when you're in this 2-year grit, you don't need to be looking at a business that is making multi-millions of dollars and think you need to replicate that. You start with the beginning. Get a pocket of buyers that you know are actually real, and it will give you more confidence actually going out to the appointment to begin with. So make that individual call, write them letters, set up lunch meetings, all that type of stuff, and you'll start to grow your buyers list pretty well. And be honest with them where you are in the part of your business. And they're actually willing to really help you if you need any help as well too. Yeah, I think we have a question here too. He's not, sorry.
Hey, what's up, Max? Charlotte, North Carolina in the house.
In the house, 704.
I think I met you a couple of times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, meetups. Good seeing you again. So, kind of like my man Alex and a few people here, my name is Gerald, and also I'm going to say that I'm in a transition right now from working with Bank of America. I'm on the dev team, so I'm leading a group of developers. So I'm also wholesaling.
Okay.
So I'm in a transition to getting out. Back on Thursday night, you know, Sean was telling me like, hey, what's your date? Like, you need to tell your people, like, get out, because you already know the business. So my question is that I talked to my newfound business partner, David Diz over here, so in Independence Market. So we're talking about an app because I build that for Bank of America, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is that I know that you're involved with different applications and things for real estate. So I think I have a disruptor. I think I have an idea that can help. So what would be your process to kind of maybe go over that, or what we can do if someone does have an idea, how can they bring that to fruition?
Yeah, so anything that I've ever built and created was to solve a problem that I internally had in my business first, right? So that's number one. So if you do this business and you're active and you know the flow and the process from A to Z, and there is a hiccup or something you can make simple, faster, better, and you've used it for a while, and you think other people can benefit, that's easy to put something out like that. Where it becomes hard is when you're from the outside of the business trying to build something for people inside of the business and you don't know all the A through Z. So if you have something that you can build, which it sounds like you have the capabilities, create your MVP, which is a minimal viable product for you guys in the tech world, and then take that, use it yourself, then throw on a few beta testers, right? You're in the mastermind, right? So throw in a few beta testers of people across the country and see if it works. And then once you've perfected that MVP, or at least get to a beta version, then you let it out, right? And if you think it's real good, then you call me, and I let it out.
Thank you.
You got it right here.
Hey Max,
How you doing, sir?
very much, man. I've been following your content for learned a lot from you.
Thank you.
I met you once before when you were in California at Scottus.
At Scottus, yeah, some part of California.
Yeah, that was in Corona, I think it was.
There it was, Corona.
So, anyways, I just got a question on your first hire. You know, what position should be your first hire? What should be the responsibilities and maybe the pay structure on your first hire at the office?
Yeah.
Not VA or anything.
Yeah. So my entire business ran for 1.5 years with nobody else in America, except for a acquisitions person. And this answer is going to be different for every single person that would ask it. But you need to find out what you're not the best at, or something you need to give away. Like Scott says, you need to be doing whatever. You need to generate revenue. You need to be doing those activities, right, Scott?
Revenue generating.
Yeah, that, okay? So you need to be doing that, and you need to be stop focusing on stuff that's not building that, right? So for me, it was, when I hired a VA, it was a person that was doing the list for me so that I can make $200 every single day. In the middle of the day, I would go on appointments. On either side of that day, I'm gonna be making phone calls. My first person that I hired inside of America was actually a transaction coordinator. What happens is we were running so fast, we were dropping the ball on the actual relationship with the customer and the buyer. So I felt like that was important for me to mend that. Now that can be different for every single person in here. So this becomes where you have a self-reflection, you start to look at yourself and see, where am I at? Are you at that place now? Is that why you asking the question?
You know, we have one VA.
Okay.
We have a social media marketing VA too, but our VA just takes care of like a lot of administrative stuff.
Yeah.
Like he goes on our prop stream, he goes on car rail, he buys new comps, you know, stuff like that. But
how many deals are you doing now?
I've done about 22 wholesale deals,
okay.
And I'm rehabbing too. So we have 2 rehabs going on in Houston right now.
So what is that average in a month?
Leads?
Yeah, no, deals that you're doing.
Deals, maybe about 1 or 2 deals a month.
Okay. So what happens is when you start to speed up, right, and the traction starts to pick up, you're going to start, the business is going to tell you what you need, right? It's not something you tell it tells you. Like for me, it was, hey, you're letting go the relationship with these actual sellers, and this is making some deals fall through the crack, fix that, right? So the business told me, and I just responded correctly with the right personnel. So listen to your business, evaluate your business, be honest with yourself and what happens in your business, and I think it's gonna be easy for you to be able to say, hey, oh, this is the person I need, no question about it, right? I don't believe there's a cookie cutter answer for everybody in this room.
Right. All right, thank you, Max.
Absolutely, thank you. There you go. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Max, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's really an honor just to see you there, and it's just a blessing. I relate to you so much just because I know you came from Jamaica, and I personally, my family came from Uganda.
Okay.
And, you know, we came from a place where, you know, it doesn't even exist in the map as much. But to see somebody like you doing great things, I just really love that.
Thank you.
I've got a couple of questions. I've been in networking for about 5 years, and I had failed miserably until I came through wholesaling. And one of the questions, I've been seeing your videos and watching your videos. One of the things that you said was that if you wanna become really great in your market, it's to study your market.
100%.
You know, what do you do to study your market, or how do you go about it?
Yeah.
That's one.
Okay.
The other thing is, we've done a couple of deals, me and my partner here. We're going into our 6th deal now. And I'm excited, and I want to take the jump. I listened to Steve Harvey talk about taking the jump and go to the next level. And I've watched other people that say, hey, you know, don't jump so soon that you're going to be, you know, financially, you're going to be waiting for that one paycheck, you're going to be stressing about it. So I wanted to know, when did you say, hey, this is the right time to jump?
Yeah.
When is the right time to quit the job and go in full time?
Yeah. So you got 3 questions?
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to remember all these. Let me get to the first 2. Let me do that before I forget. So question number 1 is, What was question number 1? So how do you master your market, right?
Yes.
So for me, it's becoming obsessed with the process of what we do. So like, I think of myself as a doctor, right? I told you I got a doctorate degree on YouTube, right? Right, so the thing is, if you want to become the best breast cancer doctor in the world, right? How would somebody become the best breast cancer doctor in the world? They would need to diagnose as early as possible to increase their success rate. Is that right? So if you know what the problem is, and you know the trajectory that the problem takes to get to the end, right, which is in our case foreclosure, loss of house, right, as a doctor maybe the end case is death. So the point is, if you know everything about it, what I mean by this is like, so foreclosures in my market. The reason why I know how foreclosures work in the state of North Carolina is because I took the gruesome time to read the state statute. And I realized every single move that the city, the county had to do in order to foreclose on a property the proper way. And when I realized that this is the first inception or the first time it was put into the public sphere, then I knew that this piece of paper meant that in 120 days, there's going to be a foreclosure. So since I identified it early, then I can probably fix this problem before it gets all the way here to where I can't help you. And I got to say, hey, you only got a few more weeks left, or hey, it's too late, I can't help you with this house. So becoming obsessed with processes, right? Because we solve problems. That's what we do in this business. We just don't make money, we solve problems. And the size of the problem you solve is the more money you make. So in order for that to relate directly to what you're saying is you need to study the problem that you are trying to fix and become very good at it, the best in your market. And that will help you identify it easier so that you can solve that seller's problem way before somebody realizes that they can get it all the way down here, right? And that allows you to scale your business pretty fast by doing deal after deal, by becoming a specialist, right? So if I was a true doctor, right, if I wore the whole apron and all that stuff, I would want to be a specialist. You know, I wouldn't want people to say, hey, Maxwell's the best guy. If you got a stumped toe, that guy can fix your toe in 2 seconds. I don't want to do everything. I only want to focus on fixing big toes. I'm a big toe doctor. Right? So you need to become that granular in the beginning when it comes to your business, and becoming that granular actually allows you to scale a lot faster. So become obsessed with the process of learning how to solve a problem.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you. I know you had another question, but I did really forget that one.
The other question was...
how do you make that jump?
Yes.
Right? Everybody has a different tolerance level. Some people jump without ever knowing what the other side looks like. Some people literally have to have the step made out for them before they make the jump. It really all depends on you. You look fairly young. You have wife, kids, and all that stuff?
Not yet.
Man, make that jump tomorrow. What do you have to lose? Ramen noodles are not that bad. You know, I say that a lot because you got a guy that's 19 years old. You know how you have a 20-something year head. Where's he at? Is that what you? You have a 20-something year head start on me. Is that right? 10-something years, sorry. You got a lot of years ahead of me, right? So if you mess up from here to this year to this year to this year, I started at 31, you're 19. You literally have a 12-year or 11-year head start. So if you fail from now all the way to your 31 and you're still trying, look what, you end up pretty good. Don't worry about it. So if you've got the capacity to make a jump, because what happens is this comfort, the nice car, the nice house, the king-size bed, that's stopping you from making that jump. I'll tell you right now, I'm risking it all as we speak. I'm betting on myself every single day. You want to know why? Because I ain't betting on that 9 to 5. So when you feel like you have the ability and you got that feeling in your stomach, and if you're okay with failure, that's the reason why people don't try. A lot of people don't try because they're afraid, not because they're afraid of losing or failing, it's because when I fail, what you gonna say to me on Facebook? What? Yeah, no, you is. What are you gonna say to me at the family cookout? They go, Max, you could try 5 different businesses this year. I heard he was sleeping in his car. You care about too much about what people think. If I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna take that failure. Right? and keep pushing. So I hope that answers your question.
My partner had a question. He was like, did you had an operation? Was it a one-man thing, two people thing, or was it just you scaling to that level?
So I made about 800 grand by myself, right? And that takes that getting up, going to sleep late, working, figuring everything out, going, keep running and running and running. And I was obsessed with quartering money. So that became my passion. And then it changed to actually helping people. And then the money got even fatter and bigger. So just go out there and just run as lean as you can in the beginning, right? And only hire, if you can hire somebody for 6 months and expect 0 results. Because these are real people's lives you're playing with when you become an actual employer. Hope that helps.
Thank you so much, man.
So I got enough for like 1, maybe 2 questions, and I got to scoop.
Hi, Max. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you, sir.
There's a lot of rumors about a market correction coming in the next 12, 18 months, whatever it is. Is there anything you're going to do different to prepare for that?
I'm going to make a lot more money. Right? If you listen to the last question, and one of the answers is that we get paid depending on the problem we solve. Right? If there is a market correction, and I'm not making no assumptions about any of this. If there's a market correction or a crash, guess what happens? There's more problems. And if you became obsessed with the process that they have to follow, like I told the other gentleman, then that big toe doctor practice you got is going to make a lot of money. Right? So don't be worried about what happens. Prepare yourself, right? They say in that thing, he says, always stay in beast mode, right? So you never have to get ready. Be ready so you never have to get ready. Really become obsessed. If you're just picking low cherries off the fruit, if all you do is call for sale by owners, you're screwed. But if you actually know how to fix a problem, and there's more problems to be made, right? If you own a car dealership, if you own a tire repair shop, every morning you go down the highway and throw out nails. That's job security, right? Right by your exit, just throw off all the nails. What happens is there's a correction, there's going to be a lot of nails on. I hope you got your tire repair shop ready.
Ready. Thank you.
Cool. All right, guys, so that's it for me question-wise. One more, I'm not going to let you down.
Hey, Matt.
How you doing?
So very quickly, I did the 30-day challenge.
I remember.
I got my first deal.
I remember.
$56,000.
You and your partner got your first deal?
Yes.
Okay, he's trying to lead you out. You see that? I got your back, bro. Don't worry.
So I decided to split.
I be seeing him on the phone all the time, doing all the calling.
Yes.
That's him. Hope y'all got that deal. Stand up,
I decided to split half a watermelon instead of getting a small grape.
Yeah.
And that eventually led to a partnership where he's like, he has unlimited funds and he's spending all the money on marketing.
Got it.
Now, how do we dominate? I am from El Paso, Texas. Nobody's dominating El Paso. But because of him, we can.
You have the opportunity.
I have the opportunity.
How did you find your first deal?
If you were in my shoes, and he's putting in 15, I could put in 15, 30 to start off marketing, how would you do it?
So, how'd you get your first deal?
Door knocking.
Okay.
It was a tax delinquent property.
Got it, right? So that's what I'm looking for. So a lot of people that start this business with actual cash, it can be scary because you start throwing money at everything that you consider a problem. So if you just made $56,000 at a tax, you need to become that tax doctor and reverse engineer and take that money and focus on that tax problem and scale that way.
Yes, we've been dominating. We've been getting consistently 3, 4. Actually, this month we got 6, 7. So we've been doing really well without marketing, just door knocking, cold calling.
So all you want to do is try to find something that's scalable, because if it's just YouTube, door knocking becomes hard. So find something that's scalable, still attack that same list, right? And then watch it grow. And then once you exercise and become a master of that, add another source of becoming a specialist.
Okay.
All right? I hope that helps.
Yes.
Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate everybody. I love you guys. Appreciate it.